Welcome to another edition of Yorkshire Kris Weekly. Coming up in today's episode,
we look at damage in the garden caused by the wind over winter. We look at some plants that look very sorry for themselves. And we look at some plants that look much better. We also have another look at the bamboo that flowered last year. And we unwrap the Musa Basjoo bananas. Well, winter's finally over and it's Easter Sunday. It's still not properly spring-like yet. The temperature's hovering around 8, 9, 10, 11 degrees. But it is time to start clearing the garden, starting to forget about winter and look forward to spring. And if you look around me, you can see the damage that's been caused by the wind, the cold winds, more than the actual cold itself. Obviously you've got the tree ferns here, which is completely scorched by the cold and the wind. But even things like this Trachycarpus fortunii, the leaves are being shredded, brown tips on this end. The Fatsia, again, that's got brown tips on its leaves. Scorched all the top of that plant. We've got the blue bamboo, the Barinda 1046. All those leaves look really, really bad because of cold winds. And even the Mahonia soft caress, that's also got curled dry leaves. So there's a lot of damage, but we can soon rectify some of this. One of the first things we can do is start cutting off the Dixonia leaves. Move the plastic off this one. To reveal the straw in the centre, plenty of straw. And we're going to take away a lot of that straw. Going to check the centre. See if we've actually got green life in the middle. Yep, it's good in there, nice and green. And now it's simply a matter of removing all these leaves because they're completely dead. So I'm just going to snip around. Basically just giving it a haircut. I'm not getting too close to the crown yet because I want a bit of support for the straw that I'm still leaving in for a week or two, because we're still prone to frost, which would damage the unfurling croziers in the centre, so we'll keep that straw in for now. Oh, I've got a completely green leaf there, but no, I'll take that off because the end of it is still black. So just carry on going around here. So that's the cut back Dixonia Antarctica tree fern. You can see the original growth planted in the bottom half, and then the last 4 or 5 years growth above. Still kept enough space, but the straw in the top for protection over the next few weeks. Fingers crossed we'll have unfurling croziers in May. And now that all the foliage has been cut off the tree fern down there, it gives a good view of this Trachyarpus fortunii palm, which is very thick trunked, very fast growing. Although it's a bit wind battered now, it's absolutely beautiful specimen of long petioles, these stems, these stalks that come out of the trunk onto the base of the leaves. And this will continue to grow very tall. This was only quite a small plant 5 years ago when it was planted, only about or less than a metre tall, but the trunk was only sort of 30 centimetres, and now the trunk is about 1 metre 80, and the whole plant is well over 2.5 metres tall, around 3 metres really. So that has grown at a fantastic rate. Now this is Brea Amata. It's a beautiful blue-leafed palm. It's already looking like it's growing, and that's had no damage whatsoever over winter. Still got its beautiful blue leaves. And it's kept them all winter with no issues at all. That did have a fleece over the top of it when we had all that snow and cold weather. But just next to it, it's a different story. This, or was, possibly still is, Brea edulis. She's only grown a couple of metres away from the Amata. It's a very different story. All the leaves completely brown, looking mouldy, no life in them at all. And if we look in the centre, that's just rotten. You can see the mould in the centre there. And this, believe it or not, looked like this before Christmas. I had a fleece bag over it the same. The fleece bag went over it much earlier though. It was kept loose around it. This was kept green the last few winters, but this went completely brown by -3 in December. So I don't know what's really happened there, because it's not been cold enough really, you would have thought, to do this much damage. But as you can see, it looks totally dead. But what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna cut all the leaves off because it's not doing anything for the plant in this state, and I'm gonna see if I can find any signs of life. This could be my first proper casualty since I've started this garden really. So let's see what we're going to find. So as you can see, I've cut the top sort of 5-10 centimetres off the trunk, and as you can see there's no life showing in there at all yet. Soft in the centre, so I shall cut down a bit further and see if there's any signs of life. So I've cut down quite a lot more now, and the centre looks whitey cream coloured, but it's still pretty soft in there. But it's got a chance of coming back, so I'll leave it like this. I've done the cut at an angle so rain will just flow off that. It looks very sad for itself now, just a stump in the ground about 15-20 centimetres high. But we'll see if that recovers with a bit of sun on it. You never know, leaves may emerge in summer. Not giving up all hope on this plant, but it's not looking great. So let's look at something else in the garden that's also looking pretty bad. So this is my Washingtonian Robusta. As you can see, all the leaves are completely browned off, almost gone rotten now, to be honest. So I'm going to do the same as I did with the edulis. Cut off all the leaves and see if you can see life in the centre. So I've cleared up the Washingtonian Robusta. Actually, I don't think it's dead, because the base of the newest leaves are still green, and the centre still got a little bit of green in it, a lot of brown as well, but there's no mould or fungus in there. So that will probably push out some new leaves over the next few months. So I'll leave that as it is and hopefully it'll come back. Right, that's enough doom and gloom. Let's look at some other plants that are actually doing much better than these two palms. Here we have this wonderful Butia odorata, and as you can see it's been completely unaffected by winter. Got green leaves all the way across and up this palm, and the newest leaves are starting to unfurl as well. So this one's doing really well in my Yorkshire garden. And the Trachycarpus aureophilus, beautiful green leaves. This has been completely covered in snow after I unwrapped it for a few hours, but as you can see all the leaves in the centre are completely untouched. The outer leaves got some scorch and burning on them, but overall this palm's looking great and it survived another winter. There's not many of these about, so I'm very glad it's got through. As you may remember, a few months ago I noticed that this Phyllostacis bamboo has started to flower, and we had a video discussing this flowering, what it means. So what I'm going to do today is cut back all the culms, all these canes with the flowers on them, in a bid trying to save this. It may continue flowering all year, or trying to flower, and it may just exhaust itself and die. I'm going to give it a chance by cutting back all the flowering stems. So I've got my very sharp Japanese secateurs, and I'm just going to go in, look for the flowering stems and cut them back. There's quite a lot that are flowering, so it may be that I have to take out quite a lot of this plant. It's mainly the bigger, older ones, so let's go in there and cut that off, and I'll continue going over the plant and cutting it back. And this is the bamboo now. I've removed all the foliage that was flowering, just leaving those culms that don't show any signs of flowering at the moment. It might happen this summer, but hopefully this will reinvigorate the plant. It'll stop flowering and it'll concentrate on growing normally again. Might happen. I'll give this a good feed of bloodfish and bone soon, put some nice manure over the top of the plant, and hopefully that'll give it the energy to carry on growing. So this is one of the areas where I put straw all over the bed, over this border, to protect the plants underground, mainly the Colocasia pink chinas. And I've just moved the straw out of the way, and as you can see we have the Colocasias here. And they are pretty soft at the top, that's to be expected. Lots of all the moisture and probably slugs trying to eat them as well. But these will be fine. These are still hard, so let's look at this bit, the base of it. Look, press that, that's solid. Nice pink colour there. And we've even got runners coming out here as well, and they're solid, so they'll grow lots of plants. And this one here is even trying to grow. Got the leaf trying to come out the top of that one. So I'm pleased that the protection's worked in this area, and I'll put a little bit of straw back over the top of these just for a week or two, just while any potential heavy frost could happen. And I'll also look out for slugs and snails, because they do like to eat these at this time of year. Nice bit of fresh growth, and within a month or two these will have nice leaves, small at this time of year, but then throughout the summer the leaves get bigger and bigger, and they'll cover all this area and put on a really great show. So that's Colocasia pink china. And isn't it amazing that this tiny strapling of a Brahea crossed with a Butia is completely untouched by winter. The leaves are a really healthy shade of green, and it's only a tiny plant. Look, if I put my hand around that, it's only about 5 centimetres across at the base. Compare that to the Brea edulis, which looks pretty dead. Just shows that palm hardiness is completely dependent on the species, as well as the size of the plant. But this Brea cross with Butia obviously has a lot of hardiness about it, both in the leaf and the stem or trunk, compared to the Brahea and the Washingtonia we saw earlier. So very happy with this, and if it can survive at this size, you would expect that with this plant growing and it gets much bigger, it should remain hardy. Now this is my Musa Basjoo clump, and I'm going to remove all the straw now and see how much growth we've got, how much pseudostem has survived the winter. If you've got yours completely covered, then it's probably worthwhile keeping it that way for a few more weeks yet, because we can still get lots of cold weather, although honestly probably not going to get lots of minus 3s, 4s and 5s or lower now we're into April, but you never know. So I would keep yours covered if you live in a cold area, and obviously if you live in an area where you've not covered it or it's warm, then yeah, feel free, uncover it all like I'm doing, to see what pseudostem has survived the cold winter we've just had. So now I've removed all the straw around the Musa Basjoos, and as you can see we've got several thick healthy stems that are firm to touch. Above where the straw was, most of the stem was soft and mushy, so I've cut that off. But under where the straw was, everything is fine. I mean, we've even got down here, these are still firm, these little pups of Musa Basjoo. And obviously the base of the big one here, that's solid, going to grow away nicely. And if we look into the top of the stem, you can see that is alive, as is that one. So leaves will start pushing up through the centres when it warms up over the next few weeks, fingers crossed. So that's Musa Basjoo. Now one problem with using straw as insulation around the Musa Basjoo and other plants is that it creates a lot of waste, and it quickly fills up my recycling bin here. And I've still got a lot of straw left, and some of this straw I will continue to use as a mulch and to incorporate into the soil in areas, but most of it will be recycled. It can be put in a compost heap, but I don't have those, so most of it will be cleared away over the next month or so. When the bins are emptied, I'll quickly fill them back up again. And that's it for another edition of Yorkshire Kris Weekly. Just to add, I know the weather's here going to be snowy on Monday, so tomorrow. So I've just gone back out and covered the Brea edulis stump with a plastic crate and put a fleece over a couple of things, including a bit more straw back around the Musa Basjoo. Hopefully the snow will only last a few hours, and then it's looking like it's going to really warm up on Tuesday, Wednesday, but still be sunshine and showers, but no frost on the horizon after tomorrow. So I know there's been a lot of damage shown in this video to some of the plants and sort of having to deal with that. But there's also lots of promise of lots of plants that have done well over winter. And next week I'll be planting out some plants. I'll also be tidying up still, and I'll be sowing more seeds in the garden. So join me then. And if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow my Facebook page, Yorkshire Kris. Thanks a lot.